All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be an all-the-random game between LawLiet and Dise, taking place here on Boulder Vale. Dise spawning as the red undead on the top right-hand side of the map, opening things up Altar of Darkness, Crypt, Ziggurat. Meanwhile, LawLiet spawning as the blue orc on the bottom left-hand side of the map, opening things up Altar of Storms, Barracks, and now finally an orc burrow. Game getting underway, and well, all the random you guys know are random heroes and random races. Also, hiring anything from mercenary camps are, well, as you might have guessed it, completely random as well. Shadow Hunter first coming out from LawLiet. Meanwhile, off to the north, it is going to be a Blade Master, so orc heroes galore in this orc versus undead. And, well, players just try to figure out different strategies on the go. I really do like all the random. All the random does still feel like WarCraft 3. You get your race, you get your heroes, but it is still a unique way of playing, and, well, has different ways to open things up. You can see an orc grunt already out now. There is that mirror image, and we're going to see a little bit of damage. The grunt has to be careful. Could end up getting surrounded, trying to break free right there. Are we going to see a serpent ward? No, we are not. Well, there's a quick hex there, and that slow-moving ghoul may end up getting taken out. But trading a ghoul for a grunt, not a good call by LawLiet, as we're looking at this grunt about to get taken down. There goes a ghoul. There goes a deny. Nicely done by LawLiet to deny the last hit onto that grunt to, well, deny that experience. Or, meanwhile, Skeletal Archer is going to get cleaned up. Shadow Hunter trying to go after some of those Skeletal Warriors as well. Blade Master, mirror image going to poof into nothing as the Shadow Hunter now looks to back away. Blade Master has to be very careful, though. Couple of things to note. Blade Master does not have access to the Voodoo Lounge. These are things that you don't really think of until you realize, well, the racial identity of each matchup and the racial identity of each race. The Blade Master often likes to go around, do a lot of creeping, and in creeping, what ends up taking damage. So how do you get around that? Well, you get around that by simply, oh, are we going to see a last hit on that squirrel? Yes, we do. You get around that by buying healing salves for that Blade Master. However, the Blade Master has no easy way to heal himself at all, aside from that Rod of Necromancy and then that Ritual Dagger. So that may actually come online here as the Blade Master still picks up another Rod of Necromancy off to the north. Meanwhile, Shadow Hunter still playing a game of, well, harassment, trying to go after ghouls, and in getting after all of those ghouls, we may see a little bit of additional lumber shortages for Dise. Dise, are we going to see another ghoul get taken down? Oh, the ghoul able to slip up between the trees, and now with the Nerubian Tower right there. Oh, are we going to see a grunt get take down another ghoul? Yes, we are. So one ghoul lucky enough, the other one not so much. Shadow Hunter, very low on hit points, down to 50, needs to back away. There's dual ghouls right there. What is he looking to do? Down to 57 hit points, and engaging, needs to fall back here. Meanwhile, those grunts are placing down that pressure. Back at home, we are already at Stronghold, taking to tier 2. Meanwhile, the Necropolis needs a little bit more time in order to get to tier 2 as well. There is another hex by LawLiet's Shadow Hunter, and the Blade Master, if it has, well, the Blade Master is going to go after that Shadow Hunter there. We're looking at some damage. Ghoul down to 97, 78. It is on Blight, does regenerate a good amount of hit points. One more attack would have been enough, but the Ghoul able to back away again. Ghouls still get very good regeneration while on Blight, and you can see the ghouls kind of getting rotated around to the far side here, protected by that graveyard and this Nerubian Tower, as we are already teching to Halls of the from Halls of the Dead to Black Citadel. Blade Master going after the Sea Elemental here. Second hero about to pop out. What is it going to be? It is going to be a Blood Mage. So Shadow Hunter Blood Mage combination. Healing salves there. The Shadow Hunter still sitting at level 1. Doesn't have access to Healing Wave just quite yet. And it looks like the way that the players are playing this game, it's going to be much more based on your units than actually the heroes. There's a quick hex going down there. Skeletal Minion's going to try to get taken down here. A little bit of damage. Are we going to see? There's some mirror image as well. The Blood Mage Perhaps he's going to try and siphon mana and realizes which guy is the real guy already. Grunt going to try and, well, absorb a little bit of damage here. Grunt now already down to 158 hit points, needs a healing salve charge, and will be getting exactly that. All right. Unit's going to try and retreat back here again. You're going to see a little bit of heal. There's some denies once more. And, well, there's some siphon mana onto, kind of shy Rabid Blade Master. And the Blood Mage can just funnel some more mana back into that Shadow Hunter. So, once more, the Blood Mage, also that siphon mana, it also does an interesting trick in that it kills mirror images pretty much instantaneously. I don't know if that actually gives experience, though. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. If you siphon mana off of a mirror image, and that mirror image then just goes poof, mirror images now give experience, right? So what does that mean overall? Obsidian statue now out here on the battlefield providing a little bit more healing. There's another Hex. Blade Master could be in trouble. Potion of healing is going to be used in time. Yes, it is able to be used just in time as it backs away again. All right, there's a little bit of damage here. We're going to see the Blood Mage gain that experience down to 18. There you go, up to 33 now. So yes, mirror images give you experience. If you use the Blood Mage's siphon mana, and it goes poof, do you get that instantaneous bit of experience? So, yeah. Let me know in the comments below. All right. Raiders are now out here onto the battlefield. We are at Stronghold. We don't have spiked barricades. We are now up to Wind Riders. In addition here, there's some healing wave bouncing around. Siphon mana off of that Skeletal Marksman, making sure to drain mana as quickly as possible, and then perhaps give it to the Shadow Hunter again, needing a little bit of cooldown. Yeah, so that Siphon mana cooldown is rather long. There's another Siphon mana again, and perhaps going to give it to that Shadow Hunter here so more heals can be, well, used across the board. Shadow Hunter and Blood Mage, level 2, level 1. Blade Master fighting by himself, doesn't have a second hero yet, as we see a quick ensnare go down as well. Healing wave bouncing around. There are a couple of ghouls down here on the ground here. Blade Master, well, quickly running by. There's a quick siphon mana, and you can see that that Blade Master has lost pretty much all mana already. Ghouls getting finished off pretty quickly, and we're seeing some big damage. Blade Master also has an Orb of Corruption, as we're looking at destroyers now taking to the skies and going after those grunts. One of the destroyers does in fact have mana, so that is important, as the Great Hall now going to get pressured and perhaps destroyed. There goes another ensnare, but that Obsidian statue well far enough back to cause problems as the Troll Bat Riders. Are they going to try and suicide onto those destroyers? Yes, they are. There goes one. There goes a Raider. There goes another suicide again, as we see level 2 now on that Blood Mage. Raiders are perhaps going to try and ensnare again. There is some more attacks. There's that Orb of Corruption damage onto the Wind Riders again. And, well, that illusion going to easily get taken down. There's a mirror image to break the Blood Mage's siphon mana once more, as we see more fighting here over and over. All right, continue to battle it up. There's another healing wave. Here, we're looking at a couple of Wind Riders backing away. This ebb and flow of this battle here, as a Grunt about to get taken down to 113 hit points, -4 armor, or excuse me, -3 armor after the Orb of Corruption's corruption effect, as the Grunt now tries to retreat all the way back home. We should be looking at some healing salves. 48 over 61 supply. There is no watchtowers here. That is important to note. So with no watchtowers, I'm curious to see if this expansion can be held easily. There's a couple of Troll Bat Riders here as well. 37 supply compared to 48. Dise, well, where is he spending all of his gold? We see dual Slaughterhouse, and now summoning up some more Ziggurats, even though he has plenty so far. Is the solo Blade Master going to be able to play some heavy tricks? That is the question there, as the Blade Master now turns back around. Blade Master perhaps still trying to do a bit of creeping. We don't see any additional heroes. We are getting up dual slot or dual obsidian statues, and it could be a timing-based attack, especially if the Orc burrows do not get that reinforced defenses. War Mill still getting built right now, so that will be some time as the Blade Master, well, trying to finish things off here. All right, you're going to see some Wind Riders there. There's going to be some poke damage. Wind Rider already down to 173. There's a Flame Strike. One Wind Rider now down. Big damage across the board on all of these rather low hit point units as the Wind Riders will try to get away from the Destroyer. What is going on here? What is this Wind Rider really trying to do? Heading around the back, the Destroyers are going to be able to easily clean him up as the Blade Master there, that was quickly taken down. All right, we're going to see a couple of ensnares. Blade Master going after the units again. Grunt going to finish off, no, not get finished off. 42 hit points and still able to escape. It feels like LawLiet has been trying his best to just minimize losses, but has been forced to, well, kill off his own units so he doesn't give experience to his opponent. Dise does spot the Great Hall here, and it looks as though this, well, Great Hall going to get taken down, not be able to pay for itself at all. It will buy a little bit of time, but that is pretty much it. Meanwhile, well, one obsidian statue getting caught in transit, and that does lighten the burden just a little bit as the Shadow Hunter does get to level 3. Trading an obsidian statue for a Great Hall, not necessarily what you want to be doing every single game. That Great Hall, a much larger, substantial investment as we see the Orc burrows still with heavy armor. All right, with 2 Destroyers, and then perhaps even a third if we get some absorb mana, these Orc burrows will get taken down extremely fast. We are getting the reinforced defenses now, 44 seconds until it is done. The window of opportunity for Dise to capitalize on this is quickly fading as LawLiet recognizes his, the weakest link in his defense and quickly shores it up. Now, we are looking at 600 gold against 230 gold in the bank, still running on solo heroes. We could be going after the mercenary camps momentarily, and that's exactly what's going to be happening now. So going after the mercenary camps, you can start hiring those mercenaries and then trying to go for those level 7 to level 10 creeps. Being able to get red drakes are incredibly powerful. However, going up against Orc that does already have Wind Riders and also access to those Troll Bat Riders could clean up the air pretty easily. Tracker now going to get taken down. This is going to give the Blade Master level 5 here. Wand of Lightning Shield or Lightning Shield quickly removed there. Blade Master going to get to level 5. And what is going to get dropped here? Perhaps selling, well, Troll Bat Riders finding those targets. Are we going to see one more final? Yes, we do. So all the Troll Bat Riders cleaned up, now down to 39 supply over 60 after those 2 were, well, quickly taken down. All right, so both sides now deciding to creep after, well, the 14-minute mark of this game here. We are looking at, well, there's that Wendigo Shaman, there's that Web Spinner trying to hire up from the mercenary, from that mercenary camp, sitting at 48 over 70 supply right now. Off to the north here, this could get cleaned up easily. Blood Mage, not quite sure why it's not siphoning mana off of that Shaman. We're looking at this Elder Shaman going to get cleaned up here. We do see, well, Destroyers and the Wendigo Shaman. Is he going to try and roar? I believe there is a roar. That's a lot of unholy aura across the board. Across the board as the Blade Master now goes after this Bestiary. All right, we're looking at one Wind Rider looking to back away. Spiked Barricades does reflect back a little bit of that damage. There's a Swirl Town Portal inbound. And, well, one Bestiary looks like it can... Well, nope, not going to stay alive. Dise comes back to finish the job right there. Level 4, level 3. Blade Master hasn't gotten any real new experience after all this time, while the Shadow Hunter and the Blood Mage now sitting at level 4, level 3. So this is one of those odd situations where, well, are we going to see anything there? There's a Siphon Mana. I don't know how he spotted the real one out of all of that. And now going after the Web Spinner. Web Spinner going to easily get cleaned up. There's some Healing Wave bouncing around. Destroyers. Meanwhile, we're looking at a quick web to take down one of those Wind Riders there. fortress now done. We could be looking at a third and final hero coming in from the Orc as we see a flame strike now go down as the units try and back away. All right, more Wind Riders poking apart at that Destroyer. Destroyer may get taken out, but a Wind Rider also traded in that scenario as both sides fighting. All right, Blood Mage down to 127 hit points. Needs to, well, find a way to get away. Doesn't have Banish. Is going to Goblin Zeppelin his way out of the scenario, and he is able to escape away, flying the friendly skies, and then landing back down here, perhaps going to get a Siphon Mana into the Shadow Hunter. Then Shadow Hunter going to go ahead and Healing Wave and heal back up. 730 gold in the bank there. Ghouls finding a couple of easy peons who went beyond the forest, so a little bit of picking off and cleaning up again as we see another quick Hex and then another Siphon Mana again. All right, some damage onto that Blade Master as the Blood Mage, well, perhaps going to be able to siphon mana from those Wendigo Shamans once more. 53 supply compared to 46. Slight economic advantage for LawLiet right now since he is no longer in upkeep. Army size, however, in favor of Dise, but Dise, well, may end up losing a Destroyer here. Are we going to see enough damage go down? And the Destroyer, yes, does end up falling. Level 4 now on the Blood Mage. Blood Mage forcing a retreat back here. Remember, Wind Riders, do they have the Envenom Spears? Oh, they do. So the Envenom Spears, that damage does stack up quite nicely, as you can see that the Blade Master is trying to catch up here. So Envenom Spears on the Wind Riders, as the Shadow Hunter is trying to keep all of these units alive and well. Blood Mage perhaps going to siphon some mana into the Shadow Hunter, and then from there Healing Wave to heal back up all of that damage once again. The Wind Riders perhaps need a bit more armor to try and stay alive, as the Blood Mage going to siphon mana from that Shadow Dancer as the Timber Wolves off to the right and left get cleaned up. Blood Mage leaving the Shadow Dancer alive here, and now trying to clean up against all of these units. Blade Master, he's going to take a lot of damage. There's a Devour Magic. Once more, Destroyers going to try to make their way across there. Destroyers may end up taking a lot of damage over time because of those Envenom Spears. There goes one Destroyer already. More Wind Riders backing up. Are we going to see a quick Hex? Yes, onto the Shaman. There's another Devour Magic, so the Destroyers have been able to, counteract that Hex pretty well, as that one Wind Rider able to back away again. All right, constant hit and run, and somehow it seems to be working as the Destroyer doesn't get ensnared down. I would have expected a quick ensnare right there. And now the Blood Mage and the Shadow Hunter just constantly working together, perhaps going to get another Healing Wave to keep these Wind Riders alive and well. There's a couple of healing salves. There's a couple of a Healing Wave as well. Off to the north, we see a Necropolis. And, Dise is trying to double expand on top of all of this pressure. LawLiet may think that he's okay, but the Blade Master is only sitting at level 5. If we see dual level 5 heroes, then, we obviously know LawLiet is going to be coming out on top in terms of the hero war, as we still don't see a second hero getting trained yet. All right, mass Wind Riders taking to the skies. Envenom Spears able to slowly pick apart. Blood Mage, Shadow Hunter could get to level 5 fairly fast here. And what is going to go down? And it looks as though LawLiet going to scout out this expansion location. And, is he going to try and shut it down here? There you have it. Acolyte's going to get cleaned up, but this could turn into a base trade scenario. Orc Burrows, is going to be able to stay alive. Yes, it will. It's down to 64. There is a lot of death there. Shadow Hunter at level 5. Perhaps more Acolytes to try and resaturate this gold mine. Meanwhile, gold mine off to the top left, currently okay. Blade Master going after some more creep camps, perhaps to just get more items. Blade Master here does have an additional item slot, perhaps going to upgrade off of this Ogre Magi creep camp again. More Siphon Mana. Blood Mage going to be suffering quite a bit of damage. Does have a Robe of the Magi. That's going to increase his damage overall as well. We're looking at the Dark Troll Berserker getting taken down, and then finally this Dark Troll Trapper. Perhaps an Invul Potion. We saw Automa retraining. Are we going to be training into Banish? No. Going to go into the Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter may try and retrain here, as LawLiet seeing the double expand and now going after this haunted gold mine here. That's quickly going to get canceled. There's a flame strike, and the units are going to try and engage here. All right, backing up into a corner. Wind Rider is going to be in trouble. We're looking at that Wind Rider all the way backing up here. Destroyer is going to get taken down. There goes another one. Blood Mage seeing that level 5. That's a big flame strike across all of those low hit point units. And now a healing wave bouncing around again. All right, Blood Mage, I don't think he's going to be able to get off another flame strike here. Tactical retreat in order. 44 supply compared to 49. All right, level 3 flame strike onto the table. And level 3 flame strike does cause some major problems for for the undead. That flame strike can really eat away at those low hit point ghouls. And then on top of that, if the ghouls have taken any bit of poison damage, well, we know that poison cannot kill a unit, but that a little bit of damage over time from the flame strike can in fact do so. So finding a way, that is going to be the key there. Just finding a way for the damage to kill a unit and win that way. Dual level 5 heroes going up against a level 5 Blade Master. The Blade Master here has not really gained any experience for about a good 6 minutes. That could be the problem. 55 supply compared to 52. Wind Riders now backing away. You can see some big damage onto that Wind Rider there. Wind Riders are very, very low hit point units, but somehow LawLiet has been able to keep them alive as the units are now looking to retreat back. 48 supply here. Blade Master going after, but with that scroll of speed, difficult to do exactly that. Gargoyles, flame strike, one ghoul down, another ghoul down as more units trying to push on through. Blade Master, there goes a third ghoul. Wind Riders are getting cleaned up. 41 supply compared to 43. More damage as we see another flame strike go down. All right, a bunch of damage onto all 3 of those mirror images. Wind Riders are turning back around. There's rejuvenation. Rejuvenation not enough as the Wind Riders are looking to poke apart at the Destroyers. Destroyers nearly taken down. There's level 6 now on the Blade Master. Blade Master now has Bladestorm, healing wave bouncing around, but we're looking at nearly dual level 5, nearly level 6 heroes coming across from LawLiet. All right. Abomination, Disease Cloud. We're looking at 41 supply compared to 36. Which is the real Blade Master? Would he please stand up? Difficult to figure out which one's real there as an Abomination about to get taken down, but that was denied. Denying level experience to the very important level 6 Shadow Hunter and level 6 or potential level 6 Blood Mage. Still coming back around, trying to go after some of these targets. There goes another. Serpent Wards are poking pretty heavily. There's going to be a little bit more, well, mana drain as well. Blood Mage could... This is what I want to see. If you siphon mana from the mirror image, and it should remove it from the equation pretty much immediately. Shadow Hunter now gets a little bit. There's going to be a healing wave bouncing around once more as the Serpent Wards are still poking rather heavily. Level 2 Critical Strike, level 3 Mirror Image. Dise is still running up on 2 additional or 2 expansions. Main bases have been mined out. LawLiet not getting any mining done at all, but the Blood Mage here may get to level 6. And we know what level 6 Blood Mage means. Level 6 Blood Mage means that we are going to have access to the Phoenix, and that Phoenix does change the battlefield entirely. One Phoenix out here on the battlefield. It is a magic immune unit for this Orc army, and with that, the Destroyers are not going to be able to do nearly as much. We're looking at the Haunted Gold Mine here taken down, and, well, we'll see what LawLiet does to follow this up. No bases mining, but does have the economy. What is Dice's long-term plan? Well, Slice and Dice take down this Great Hall. Great Hall already down to 500 hit points, 400, 300, and it will end up falling here as well. 31 supply compared to 36 as the Wind Riders. Shadow Hunter now making its way across. All right, a little bit of damage onto this Necropolis. Little bit of gold mining here. That Phoenix about to have a bad day. Gonna turn back into an egg and, well, wait for that little bit of time to hatch. As we're looking at the Blade Master trying to finish it off. Oh, Blade Master with a 171 critical strike, able to finish off that Phoenix easily. Meanwhile, Serpent Wards poking back at all of the Destroyers. Wind Riders trying to battle up here. There's Big Bad Voodoo. Shadow Hunter going to be absorbing quite a bit of damage and now trying to walk back away. Healing Wave keeping him alive. The Serpent Wards still poking back the other way again. Shadow Hunter, Blade Master now gets up to level 7, 22 supply compared to 24, as the Wind Rider now backs up again. Gonna be a little bit of time before we see another Phoenix out here onto the battlefield. Big Bad Voodoo coming into play. There's a big Flame Strike, making sure, well, no mining is happening for at least a little while, as the Shadow Hunter now goes into that back position and says, you know what, surprise, I got Serpent Wards here too. All right, so Serpent Ward's gonna finish things off. We're looking at the Blade Master. Blade Master considering his options as an Obsidian statue, now getting trained up to perhaps reinforce that Blade Master. Gargoyles out here onto the battlefield. There is 3 gargoyles right there. That is some big damage. If the gargoyles can actually catch up to that Wind Rider, you can see some slow poison damage over time. 3 damage a second on top of that. The gargoyle, however, are we going to get a little bit of damage here? There goes an attack. There goes one gargoyle down, but a Wind Rider does get taken down as well. Those gargoyles, 61 to 70 damage. Very, very high indeed, as the little bit of damage over time going to be ticking 6 damage a second from 2 of those Envenom Spears. All right, Blade Master going after here. 244 critical strike, trying to finish things off. Gonna go perhaps after this Wind Rider. Wind Rider has -4 armor, could easily get taken down. There it goes, as we see some long distance mining happening as well. 22 supply compared to 20 in this all the random. It is still anyone's game as the Blade Master tries to finish off this Wind Rider here. Phoenix, well, could get trained up here, but not enough mana. Blood Mage could have some bad days. Are we going to see some big critical strikes? We can see these, well, mirror images slowly picking away at the hit points on that Blood Mage, but it looks like it will be just fine. Blade Master walking all the way back home. A couple of gargoyles up in the air. What is that? O2 upgrades on those gargoyles, unsummoning some of those buildings here as the Blade Master looks to finish off and perhaps pick up some additional items and perhaps sell them and, well, and figure out what to do next. All right, what item is that going to be? Blade Master unable to pick it up as all the mirror images have been, well, Healthstone. All right, no, Healthstone. That is an item that Blade Master will most likely hold on to. A bit of survivability and better regeneration, albeit just a little. Now, as the creep camps get cleared up here in the corners of the map and every bit of gold matters, what is going to be unfolding here? All right, Serpent Ward taking a little bit of damage. Serpent Ward's dishing out a bit of damage. 46 to 50 damage here per poke. We're going to look at a Mana Stone now picked up by the Shadow Hunter. So Shadow Hunter has 25% increased mana on top of the Kagar's Pipe of Insight and can also crush that Mana Stone for 200 instantaneous mana when the time comes. All of the map now completely clear of creeps, save for this one right here. I believe this guy does have maximum or maxed out mana. The Blood Mage could easily siphon some mana from there. Kind of acting as a bit of a mana battery strategy more than anything else. All right, Serpent Ward gonna keep track here. Blade Master, well, does not, the mirror image does not apply. Oh, did that give experience? I don't know. There's an ensnare. Goblin Zeppelin now trying to retreat back. There is going to be another Goblin Zeppelin taken down as the Blade Master, 236 critical strike down another peon. All right, we're going to look at a bit of an engagement here. Blade Master going to try to dive in. There goes another Serpent Ward, easily finished off as the Blade Master, well, mirror image to break that siphon mana connection again. All right. As the Serpent Wards get cleaned up slowly and surely, we're looking at a couple of ensnares as well. Perhaps going to try and take down that Goblin Zeppelin. It does fall. And still, 24 supply compared to 22. Dual level heroes. There goes another Wind Rider down. And with that, the Gargoyles, well, what are they going to do next? There's some more Siphon Mana. Blood Mage, is he going to drop he should be dropping a Phoenix here, but perhaps he's concerned about the Gargoyles being able to do a little. Are we going to perhaps see some ensnares to bring down those gargoyles while having a little bit more of a favorable position? Blood Mage has not dropped that Phoenix yet. Well, there it is. There's a Blade Storm, and now the Blade Storm of Dise. That is a huge Blade Storm straight inside this base, trying to dive in onto that Blood Mage. Blood Mage nearly gets away using a potion of healing at the last possible moment as well. All right, Blade Master still chasing after all of these targets here. Blood Mage still has mana. Obsidian Statue. Finally, the Phoenix is out here onto the battlefield. But remember, standing next to the Phoenix is hazardous to your health. We could see some death onto a couple of gargoyles as that Phoenix does quite a bit of work as well. We're looking at the Phoenix trying to, well, dodge and dive away back into the corner. He's going to hide in the far back here. Blade Master, is he going to be able to finish off that Phoenix Egg? Well, there's an ensnare and unable to get into melee range onto that Phoenix Egg. And that Phoenix Egg, is he going to pop back up? Yes, he will. All right, so Phoenix Egg pops back up. Blade Master down to 500 or 600 hit points after using that health stone. Finishes off a raider there and now trying to back away once more. 7.8. Nearly level 8 there. Serpent Wards down. And the Blood Mage and the Shadow Hunter continuing to give chase. That ensnare denying melee range onto the Phoenix. The big deal there, as this gold mine needs 40 seconds before it is haunted. Blade Master going after the Phoenix Egg. Blade Master is going to be able to finish it off. Yes, does it finish it off. Blade Master now down to 169 hit points. Flame Strike down to 97 hit points and able to get away at the last possible moment there as he runs off to the north to hide and fight and live another day. Obsidian Statue right there, gonna provide some healing. The Blight doesn't do anything. There's some gargoyles. I believe, is he doing the Essence of, yeah, he's doing Essence of Mana and Essence of Blight at the same time while trying to fight on the Blight here. There is no regeneration on this Obsidian Statue. Acolytes are not repairing. This gold mine was canceled as the Acolytes here are going to get cleaned up once more. All right, there goes the last couple of workers here by Dise. Once those workers are gone, well, so are any mining opportunities left. Is the Blade Master going to try to buy a potion of healing? That is the question. Oh, I take it back. There is a slight regeneration on the with the Unholy Aura on this Blade Master here. So he's able to move a little bit faster and try and keep this Obsidian Statue alive. Not quite sure why this Acolyte didn't try and repair this Obsidian Statue. This Obsidian Statue needs to stay together, right, in order to keep this... will keep the undead army together. An additional bit of hit points would make a big difference here. And we're still looking at ghouls, just trying to keep track of what's going on. Blade Master, Mirror Image, that's going to be coming to an end. Looking for a little bit of time there. There's Blade Storm online once again. Where is that Acolyte? Acolyte could have repaired. Not quite sure what's going on. And now we're going to go straight after these Serpent Wards. Take them all down. There's level 8 now on that Blade Master. Level 1 Wind Walk as the Blade Master now backs up there. All right, little bit of damage. Serpent Wards getting cleaned up again. Acolyte back onto Blight here. Gonna be okay. There's a ghoul making sure no one's mining. 20 supply compared to 14. But 2 level 6 heroes going up against a level 8 Blade Master. All right. Destroyers. Are we going to see any ensnares? No, we do not. Serpent Wards able to poke down. That Destroyer down to 39 hit points. One final shot as we're looking at the Raider trying to back away. And now another Serpent Ward down. There goes a Raider. So 2 heroes left. And that is it. Blood Mage in some serious trouble trying to retreat back. Blade Master, well, that was not the real critical strike. That was only from a mirror image, as the Blade Master now using Wind Walk to try and, well, perhaps take down that Blood Mage. Blood Mage down to 270. There's a 40-point Wind Walk strike. Now going after the targets again. Gargoyles, is it going to go after, yeah, beautiful micro from that Serpent Ward to go after the low hit point unit once more. Where is the Obsidian Statue? That is the question now, as the, well, Blade Master trying to chase after these targets. Low hit point Gargoyle down to 75. Continue to retreat back. Shadow Hunter down to 76. Are we going to see Siphon Mana? We are. Blade Master trying to go after. There's a healing wave. Shadow Hunter still running around the corner. Are we going to see another, Siphon Mana again? There's another Serpent Ward. What is going down here? Blood Mage gets in harm's way. in order to break the connection there. And now we're going to see a healing wave backing forth again. Blade Master, 256 critical strike, and that is going to be it. Dise with the 256 critical strike, able to take down the Shadow Hunter in time. And with that, a level 8 Blade Master going up against a level 6 Blood Mage. Well, definitely, with the partner gone, would have greatly favored Dise. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.